Well, one, I think courage is a skill. It's not a personality trait. It's not like, oh, yes, I was born courageous and you, I'm sorry, you'll just never be correct. That's not true. Courage is a skill, and like all skills can be learned. And while some people may naturally be more comfortable with risk taking, I interviewed Richard Branson a few years ago, and he said how he was like, took the third mortgage out on his home when he was 27 or whatever. And I was like, man, I wouldn't be comfortable. I don't have that tolerance for risk taking, right? But it's a skill, and all of us can build it. And I wrote another book called Brave. It's okay. So come out by the title Train the Brave. We can train the brave within us. And we train the brave within us every time we act on our answer to this question. What would I do if I was being brave? Sometimes that's confide a secret. Sometimes that's extend an invitation or make an ask, risk rejection. Sometimes that's going after something we really want. Sometimes it's leaving a situation that we don't like and just inviting a whole world of uncertainty in. And so to anyone who's struggling, and we know a lot of people right now are struggling with anxiety, the more you focus on what scares you, the more scared you will become. And so if you are feeling anxious and afraid, I invite you, instead of thinking about all the things you don't want, because that's where our brains go, right? We have that loss aversion bias, that negativity bias. Focus, what is it you do want? And what's one thing you can do today that will move you toward it? And even if that's uncomfortable, do it. Pick up the phone, send the email, connect with someone, whatever that is. And tomorrow, what's another thing you can do? And every day, train that courage muscle, train the brave. And 10 days from now, you're going to be a bit braver. And 6 months from now, you're going to be way braver. And a year from now, you mightn't even recognize the person that you were.
You know what? That might be a great message for us to wrap up on, because I know that you've got a keynote presentation to give right after this, and so I want to give you a little bit of breathing space to do that. But you've really managed to, just in your speaking to us here, to cover so much of what's in the heart of this wonderful book and other books that you've written. And so I want to thank you for being my very inspiring guest today on Shrink Wrap Radio.
Well, thank you, David. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to share this message with your audience. And I just have to have faith that those who are listening, that something will have just spoken to that deep truth within them. And if something resonated, I can only encourage you. Don't ignore it. And if you've got this like, oh, I need to do that, do it. Even if your knees are shaking, I promise you, you will be so glad you did.
Wonderful.